My name is Oyenda, and it cut. Hi, my name is Oyenda. I'm 28 years old, and it is currently Monday, December 2nd at 6:16 p.m. And I'm just sitting here. It's a Monday evening, and I just got done reading the book of Ecclesiastes in the Tony Evans Bible commentary. So I have my Tony Evans Bible commentary and my Bible. I don't really have much to say. I just truthfully was kind of bored and decided to film this video. I love the book of Ecclesiastes because it puts things into so much perspective. It's just like, okay, so Ecclesiastes was written by Solomon, which is David's son, David's successor, King David's successor, his son, who he was responsible for building the temple, and he was the richest king there was to ever exist. He was also the wisest person to ever exist according to the Bible. And like I heard this on like somebody's reel once where it said that Solomon was like he would have been a modern day trillionaire today. So he was very, very wealthy and very wise. And in Ecclesiastes, he's speaking his truth. He's speaking the truth. He is just speaking in all these very tight, like, phrases, tight parables that are just so striking. And then to read it in the commentary is so good. And it honestly, if you're not careful, because I've read Ecclesiastes a couple of times, if you're not careful, it can feel a bit morbid, especially reading it in the Bible. Reading the commentary is a different story, but it can feel morbid because it's just like, life is meaningless. You will not find the meaning of life in living here. You have to find it in God. And it's basically talking about how everything in life is grasping for wind. There's nothing new under the sun. It's all vanity. It's all grasping for wind. It's all futile. He says something about the rich man and the poor man. Under God, under the sun, they're the same. There's nothing different about them. Both have their own due date, which is death. Regardless if you're dying in $1 million casket and a bunch of people are carrying the casket and it's on. I was going to curse. And I haven't cursed in a while. Anyway, I'm working on that. I don't want to curse. I don't want to use foul language anymore. But anyway, if regardless if you're like being carried out in a casket, millions of people are watching your funeral, like Beyonce. If Beyonce died, it'd be all over the news. Or you're a random girl living in Nebraska. Death is death. You're dead. You're done. And Solomon just speaks to that very well. I want to read some of my underlines. Maybe I can read all of the things that I underlined in Ecclesiastes since it's so short. I'm going to read the things that I underlined in I'm going to read the things that I underlined in my regular Bible. I read the New King James, and then I'll like find it in the commentary and I'll read that, and then we'll just talk about it because why not? Like, I'm not doing anything right now. Okay, so the first underline that I have in Ecclesiastes is Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verses 17 and 18. And it says, "And I set my heart to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly. I perceive that it is also grasping for the wind. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he who increases knowledge increases sorrow." And in the commentary, this is what Tony Evans would say about that. He says, "In spite of wisdom's benefits, however, Solomon is troubled that one's fate comes to both, the wise person and the fool, as far as life under the sun is concerned. The fool and I will end up in the same place, the grave. My degree won't make me better off there, and whether you're buried in a crude wooden box or a stylish bronze casket," this is what I literally just was referencing, "transported by a limousine, dead is dead. Moreover, a dead dummy and a dead genius are equally deceased. Therefore, Solomon hated life." I, according to this, according to Tony Evans in the Bible commentary, he says that this is when Solomon had already left God and then he came back. So I'm like, why is Solomon so depressed? Why does he hate life if he came back? I don't know. I'm still learning, honestly. Um, and if you have any thoughts, you can comment. Another thing that I underlined is chapter 2, verse 3. "I searched in my heart how to gratify my flesh with wine, while guiding my heart with wisdom, and how to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was good for the sons of men to do under heaven all the days of their lives." Okay, so I think actually my question before was like, why is he so depressed? I think he was just speaking of like in past tense. I don't think he was depressed while he was writing this. "I searched in my mind how to gratify my flesh, wine, guiding my heart with wisdom, and how to lay hold of folly, till I might see what was good for the sons of men to do under the sun all the days of their lives." And he's basically just talking about right there, like, he tried it all. Like I said, he was very wealthy. He also was the wisest man on earth. When God had asked him what would he want and he would provide it to him, Solomon asked God for wisdom, and God was so happy with Solomon for asking. You could have all things from God. God is asking you, what do you want? And the one thing you want is wisdom. And it talks a lot about that in Proverbs. David talks a lot about that in Proverbs, where it's like, you should want wisdom above all things. God's wisdom above all things. And it's because he said that wisdom, this is in Proverbs, he said that wisdom is the one thing that can deliver on its promise. I love the word wisdom. I truly, truly do. And by God's grace, you guys will be able to see how much I love the word wisdom, because that's all I'll say. But yeah. So Solomon asked for wisdom. And I think Solomon here is just reflecting on how depressed he was, and also how in his wisdom he's done so many things. And one of those things is, because he was so rich, he didn't deny himself any pleasures. He married 700 wives, I believe, and had a bunch of concubines, which is like girlfriends, prostitutes, hoes, I don't know. But yeah, so he didn't deny himself sexual pleasure. He didn't deny himself any monetary pleasure. I mean, like I said, he would have been a modern day trillionaire. And in all of this, he says, yeah, he did all of this. He said, I made my works great. I built myself houses. I planted myself vineyards. I made myself gardens and orchards, and I planted all the kinds of fruit. I made myself water pools from which to water growing trees of the grove. I acquired male and female servants. I had servants born in my house. Yes, I had greater possessions of herds and flocks and all who were in Jerusalem before me. I also gathered for myself silver and gold and special treasures of kings and of the provinces. I acquired male and female singers, the delights of the sons of men, and my musical instruments of all kinds. So I became great and excelled more than all who were before me in Jerusalem. Also, my wisdom remained with me. So he did all of that. He denied himself all earthly pleasures and he still had his wisdom. And he's saying, whatever my eyes desired, I did not keep from them. I did not withhold my heart from any pleasure, for my heart rejoiced in all labor, and this was my reward from all my labor. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had done, and all the labor which I had toiled, and indeed it was all vanity, and it was all grasping for wind. There was no profit under the sun. You know, one thing that comes to my mind when I read that is this quote by Kylie Jenner, and or something I remember Kylie Jenner saying, where she was like, you know, I'm so grateful that I have everything that I have, and she was saying, because I know now, I get to know, she said, because I know so early in my life that everything that I have isn't what makes me happy, isn't what's going to fulfill me. And that struck a chord for me because I grew up watching the Keeping Up with Kardashians. I loved watching them, and I just loved like being like, wow. I loved watching rich people in general. Like, I remember growing up, I used to watch My Sweet 16 and stuff, and like I just liked watching wealthy people, and I would dream of having that, being rich and famous. And I think that's something that God is like healing out of me right now, is like the desire to be rich and famous. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just like I used to want that so badly. Anyway, that Kylie Jenner said, I'm so glad I have all the wealth and everything that I have, because I get to know at an early age that that's not what brings true fulfillment. And so I get to spend the rest of my life searching what truly brings fulfillment. And I hope she knows Christ, because that was a word, that was a bar that she said. And yeah, that's what Solomon is essentially saying. He's like, I did all that, maintained my wisdom, all that, and it was all grasping for wind. Like, he did an experiment. He didn't deny himself any pleasure. So a lot of people spend so much of their life, me included, spend so much of their life wanting to get to a point, wanting to get to a place where they have the money and the fame and the accolades and whatever to accumulate respect, accumulate power, accumulate money and stuff. And the thing is, it's like, I'm so glad that God just snatched me, because it's like, girl, all that stuff you was going towards is all grasping for wind. Try and grasp for some wind right now. You're not gonna get nothing. Okay. Anyway, in the Tony Evans Bible commentary, okay, I don't have to read that. Anyway, let's read that. All right, suddenly at this point we see a ray of light. Solomon comes to a refrain that he'll repeat throughout the book. There's nothing better for a person than to eat, drink, and wait. Oh, let me read this verse. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I just I don't know. Anyway, chapter 2, 12. Then I turned to myself to consider wisdom and madness and folly. For what can the man do who succeeds the king? Only what he has already done. Then I saw that wisdom excels folly, as light excels darkness. The wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walks in darkness. Yet I myself perceived that the same event happens to them all. So I said in my heart, as it happens to the fool, it also happens to me. And why was I then more wise? Then I said in my heart, this also is vanity, for there is no more remembrance of the wise than of the fool forever. Since all that now is will be forgotten in the days to come. And how does the wise man die? As the fool. Therefore I hated life, because the work that was done under the sun was distressing to me. For all is vanity and grasping for wind. Then I hated all my labor which I had toiled under the sun, because I must leave it to the man who will come after me, and who knows whether he will be wise or a fool. Yet he will rule over all my labor in which I toiled, and in which I have shown myself wise under the sun. This is also vanity. Therefore I turned my heart and despaired of all labor in which I had toiled under the sun. For there is a man whose labor is with wisdom, knowledge, and skill, yet he must leave his heritage to a man who has not labored for it. This is also vanity and great evil. For what has a man for all his labor and for the striving of his heart with which he has toiled under the sun? For all his days are sorrowful. For all his days are sorrowful, and his work burdensome. Even in the night his heart takes no rest. This is also vanity. Nothing is better for a man than that he should eat, drink, and that his soul should enjoy in his labor. This also I saw was from the hand of God. For who can eat, or who can have enjoyment more than I? For God gives wisdom, knowledge, and joy to a man who is good in his sight. But to the sinner he gives the work of gathering and collecting, that he may give to him who is good before God. This is also vanity and grasping for wind. I don't know what to say. Some things are just so sharp and so rich in meaning that I personally don't have like commentary for it. It's like I feel it in my bones, but I don't know what to say about it. And I want to have more to say, but I don't know how to put that in words. At the end of the day, let me read this last thing and get off of here, because this video is getting too long and I feel like I have not said a thing. Here Solomon says in essence, let's bring it all home. The conclusion of the matter is this: fear God and keep his commands, because this is for all humanity. The truth applies to everyone. You are not an exception. Fearing God and keeping his commandments are two universal truths for all mankind in order to find the meaning and purpose of life. No life is ever to be lived independently of God, for God will bring every act into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether good or evil. Life isn't over when it's over. The actions of humanity, good and evil, are all on tape. And while you can't erase what's in your tape, you can create new and better footage. As long as you draw a breath, the recorder is still running. Therefore, don't waste your days. Take God seriously. Conform to his will. Maximize your time, the time God has given you. Enjoy the legitimate pleasures he provides, and thank him in both good times and bad. Seek his divine perspective for your day-to-day decisions and make your life count toward the fulfillment of his kingdom agenda. And I'm just going to leave you guys with that. And this is just one of those videos. What can I say? Sorry, I'm speechless. But I'm going to put this up, I think.